coming and checking out another episode of Fat Guy Builds. Don't judge me. New Mexico has no haircutting people. Everything's locked down still, so don't judge me. I'm gonna grow an afro probably. But anyways, today we're gonna do a UPR catch can on my brand new 2020 Explorer ST. So we're gonna go step by step. Here's what I got in the box. Get your 3-port catch can. You get your 3 hoses. This is an add-on. This is just to help it catch more of the vapor. Then I got a high flow PCV, and it has 3 different orifices based on how you drive your car. And this hardware is for one of these hoses on the other end. To use the mounting hardware, you're going to need a 5/32 Allen wrench for right here. You're going to put the bolt through here into the catch can. I'm just going to snug it so that I can still move this until I have all the hoses on. Then I'll tweak it a little bit to make it fit as nice as possible. But for the most part, it's just going to be facing from here, and the bracket's going to go straight towards the back of the car. Next step, this hose here, that goes from the intake to the valve cover. We're going to remove this. To remove both sides of this, there's a little tab that's sticking out. You have to push it away from the flange and then pull it out, and that will open it. See how that opens it? And then while you're holding this, then you pull up on the fitting and it will come off. If you bought their PCV valve, what we're going to do is obviously remove the old one. To get the PCV old style connector out, you turn it counterclockwise and then it comes out. The reason you would want to replace this is because it has a ball style check valve, okay? But you have a check valve in your hose. So leaving 2 check valves is kind of a pointless thing. Plus, this thing doesn't flow very well even when the check valve thing is open. So this one is straight through, but they give you 4 different size orifices that you screw into this and then install it. Small, medium large, and large. So these are going to be pretty much based on your driving style. If you beat on it, you're going to want the biggest one most likely. If you plan on doing any kind of, pretty much if you beat on your car, put the biggest one. If you just want to drive it normal and you don't really beat on your vehicles and you want it to work, then go with the smallest one. To install the orifice, you're going to use a 3/16 Allen, or I'm sure a metric version will fit too, but I'm using a 3/16. When reinstalling, it's got these little grooves. So you need to find the groove, and then you're going to turn it clockwise until it stops right here in that groove there. So you're going to go down, rotate till it locks. Once you rotate it, it'll be flush and look like this. First hose we're going to connect has a straight connection, a check valve with arrows, and then a 90. You're going to take the 90 end, and all you have to do is press this on. Listen. Do you hear the click? So you put the 90 on, have it face towards the air box. Now the straight end is going to go on this port here. Okay. So that's locked in now. And you see why I left the catch can loose so that we can tweak it however we need to tweak it, just to have the hoses lay right. Next hose we're going to use is the hose with no check valve and 290 degrees on it. Plug one side into the top of the catch can. Now take that hose with the 90 and no check valve, and you click it on to that new PCV adapter, like so. The third hose to plug in is the one with a 90, a check valve, and a 45. You're going to plug the 45 into the side of the catch can. Then you're going to spin it however you need to run it nice and smooth in this general area. Run this hose so it comes like this, and then line up the end of the hose. Then you can take a marker, a pen, pick, whatever you want to use to mark the spot on the pipe that you want to drill the hole. Use a flathead screwdriver to loosen this clamp. Now follow that same intake pipe all the way down. Loosen that clamp so that we can remove the pipe. Wherever you're going to put yours, just make sure you don't put it on the seam, is what UPR says. So don't drill on the seam, you want to drill in a different spot. They say to drill a 20 millimeter hole. Problem is, none of my step bits are 20 millimeter. So I'm just going to go to 3/4 of an inch. That's 0.750. And the grommet should still fit. Let's see what happens. Once you get it in, you're going to make sure it's fully seated, which means that there's no folded over rubber or anything, that the inside looks like the outside, just like this. Now you're going to take this and you're going to thread it in until the smooth area touches the rubber. When it's threaded all the way in, it's going to look just like this. Now let's put the intake pipe back on and tighten the clamps. What I did to hold down this from coming up, I ran it underneath this line and this wiring harness into the intake tube. Now we're going to install this extra oil separator. This is going to go on the driver's side valve cover and just integrate with the factory hose. So this sucks. I have the orange fitting, which is a pain. If you have the blue fitting, it'll be just like the other ones you took off, but the orange one is no bueno. So the orange one has 3 tabs all the way around that you have to hook from underneath, which really sucks. So go to Harbor Freight and get yourself a set of these thingies. They said to use a 90-degree one, so I'm going to use that. See how it goes. So this is the hardest part so far. Having a rough time, and I broke one of the tabs. So the one I broke was the one directly at the bottom here, and then the 2 on top I got. The one on the bottom was being I don't want to get demonetized. Now you're going to get this sucker here. You're going to put this on. You have to pull this little lock. So you pull the lock and slide it on. Then you rotate it so that the factory hose just slips on. And I tested it with one broken. It still holds really good, so I'm not going to stress out. Double check to make sure that catch can is tight as far as the reservoir part. So grab it from the bottom and turn it clockwise. Lastly, I'm going to get some black zip ties, and I'm going to zip tie these a little bit together just to clean it up a little. Before we go ahead and start this thing, go around to everything you took apart. Just double check everything's tight, everything's clipped on. Verify the catch can is tight, like the actual reservoir, and then let's start it up. Everything sounds good, everything looks good. I will have a follow-up video at the first 5,000 mile oil change, and I'll show you guys what it caught and my overall thoughts. But thanks for coming. Until next time, wrench on.